Cucumbers are almost entirely water. About 96% of their structure is water. They are not sweet, not fatty, not rich in energy. They do not carry the appearance of a powerful food. And, at first glance, it is difficult to believe that humans would dedicate land, effort, and time to growing them for thousands of years. Yet, cucumbers never disappeared. Instead, they quietly appear in the meals of many different civilizations. From hot and dry regions to modern cities filled with convenience. From the simple meals of laborers to the tables of powerful figures throughout history. This raises a very simple question that is not easy to answer. Why has a fruit with seemingly nothing remarkable in nutrition been preserved for so long? Why have humans not replaced it with things that are richer in energy, more nutritious, or more impressive? Perhaps cucumbers were never grown to impress. Perhaps their value does not lie in providing many things, but in doing one single job extremely well. And perhaps that is exactly what allowed them to survive. To understand this, we need to look at cucumbers not as a side dish, but as a quiet solution to one of the most fundamental needs of the human body. If you are ready, let us begin by understanding what a cucumber truly is. When people think about cucumbers, most imagine a vegetable served on the side, cool, light, low in calories, and almost never the central element of a meal. But this view only reflects the surface, and does not reach the true nature of the cucumber. Cucumbers were not chosen by humans for their ability to provide energy. They were not cultivated to become a major source of vitamins. What defines the value of cucumbers lies in their structure, a structure designed to contain and retain water in a way that is efficient, stable, and easy for the human body to absorb. Biologically, a cucumber is a fruit with an extremely high water ratio, but it is not empty water. This water exists inside plant cells and comes with small amounts of minerals and fiber. This structure allows the water in cucumbers to be released more slowly compared with simply drinking water, creating a gentler sensation for the digestive system. What matters is that cucumbers do not try to do too many things at once. They do not stimulate. They do not create pressure. They do not force the body to process large amounts of energy or nutrients. Their role is very clear: to keep the body hydrated in a gentle, steady, and natural way. Therefore, calling cucumbers a nutritionally poor food is not entirely accurate. More precisely, they are a food with a very narrow function that happens to meet a critical need: the need to maintain water balance and stability within the human body. To understand why this seemingly simple function is so important, we need to return to the time when humans first began cultivating cucumbers and examine the environment in which they first appeared. Cucumbers did not originate in mild and fertile lands. Their journey began in the hot, humid, and often unstable regions of the Indian subcontinent. Archaeological evidence shows that humans domesticated and used cucumbers as food more than 3,000 years ago, in the region between the Bay of Bengal and the Himalayan mountains. This was a place where the climate could be harsh, where maintaining water in the body was not a comfort, but a requirement for survival. In that context, cucumbers were not grown for flavor. They were preserved for efficiency, a fruit that was easy to grow, fast to develop, rich in water, and edible without complicated preparation. For communities that depended on ancient agriculture, this was a clear advantage. From India, cucumbers spread with human movement into Western Asia and Egypt. In these dry regions, their value became even more obvious. Cucumbers were not only food, but also part of a strategy for adapting to the environment. When they reached ancient Greece and Rome, they were no longer unfamiliar crops. Historical records show that cucumbers appeared regularly in meals and were even cultivated year-round to serve the needs of powerful elites. Throughout the Middle Ages, cucumbers continued spreading across Europe, particularly from the 9th to the 14th centuries. Even as climates changed, their core role remained the same. They were grown not for energy but for helping people maintain balance under different living conditions. By the late 15th century, when great sea voyages opened a new era, Cucumbers crossed the ocean and arrived in the Americas. From there, they became one of the most widely cultivated crops in the world, quiet, without special titles, yet persistently present everywhere. This journey reveals something very clear. Cucumbers did not survive because they were remarkable. They survived because they solved a problem that every civilization had to face. How to help the human body retain water in environments that were far from ideal. To understand why this ability matters so much, we need to examine cucumbers through the lens of science and begin with a concept that seems simple but is often misunderstood. Hydration. When we talk about hydration, most people immediately think about drinking water. The more water we drink, the more hydrated the body becomes. This idea sounds logical, but in reality the hydration of the human body is not that simple. The body does not only need water to enter, it needs water to be retained, distributed, and used efficiently at the cellular level. Drinking water enters the body very quickly, but it also leaves very quickly. When large amounts of water are consumed in a short time, the body responds by eliminating the excess to maintain balance. This means that not all the water we drink is actually used to nourish cells. Effective hydration depends on how water is absorbed. And this is where water-rich foods such as cucumbers begin to play their role. The water in cucumbers does not exist freely. It is contained within plant cell structures and accompanied by small amounts of fiber and minerals. When cucumbers are eaten, the body releases this water gradually through gentle digestion. This slow release helps water be absorbed more steadily and places less pressure on the kidneys and circulatory system. Instead of creating a large flow of water that must be processed immediately, the body receives hydration at a pace that matches its natural physiology. In addition, hydration is not only about water but also about electrolyte balance. Small amounts of minerals present in cucumbers help the body retain water more effectively, especially in warm conditions, during light physical activity, or when the body has been mildly dehydrated for a long period. For this reason, cucumbers do not replace drinking water, but they support hydration in a different way, quietly, slowly, and comfortably. This is the kind of hydration that ancient humans relied on and that modern bodies still respond to well. When we understand this mechanism, it becomes clearer why a fruit composed mostly of water can still hold a long-term place in the human diet. But to fully evaluate the value of cucumbers, we must face another question. Beyond water, what else do they offer the body? If we look at a nutritional chart, cucumbers are not a food that stands out. Their energy content is very low. A cucumber provides only a modest number of calories, not enough to become a fuel source for the body. They are also not a dense source of vitamins or minerals like many other vegetables. This is often why cucumbers are underestimated. But the value of cucumbers does not lie in providing many things at once. It lies in providing the right things at the right intensity. Most of the structure of a cucumber is water, but alongside that water are small amounts of fiber, potassium, vitamin C, vitamin K, and several trace minerals. These components are not strong enough to create dramatic effects individually, yet together they support hydration and physiological balance within the body. The fiber in cucumbers is not abundant, but it is sufficient to slow digestion slightly. This allows water and minerals to be released gradually, instead of passing through the body too quickly. Potassium supports electrolyte balance, which becomes particularly important in conditions where the body may lose water. Vitamin C contributes to protecting cells from mild oxidative stress, while vitamin K supports processes related to calcium metabolism and bone health. What is notable is that cucumbers do not carry factors that force the body to work excessively. They do not contain high amounts of sugar. They contain no fat. They do not cause sudden increases in energy. For bodies that are sensitive, fatigued, or recovering, this can actually be an advantage. Cucumbers allow the body to receive water and certain micronutrients without paying the cost of heavy metabolic demand. Therefore, when people say cucumbers are nutritionally poor, That statement is only true if we expect them to perform many functions at once. If we instead see them as a supportive food that helps the body maintain its basic balance, their value becomes much clearer. They were not designed to nourish the body through energy. They exist to help the body operate smoothly in conditions where excess is not the solution. From this modest yet logical nutritional foundation, we can begin to understand why cucumbers provide very specific health benefits, even though they do so quietly and without exaggeration. The health benefits of cucumbers do not come from a powerful mechanism or an immediate effect. They arise from gentle support, repeated over time, in ways that align with the natural physiology of the human body. For this reason, cucumbers are not meant for treating disease. They are meant for maintaining stability. The most obvious benefit of cucumbers lies in their ability to support hydration. With extremely high water content and a slow-release structure, cucumbers help the body replenish water comfortably, especially in situations where drinking water alone does not create a lasting feeling of hydration. This can be meaningful for older adults, people who rarely feel thirsty, or individuals living in prolonged hot environments. When the body receives steady hydration, the kidneys can function more effectively in removing excess metabolic waste. Cucumbers are also often mentioned in the context of weight management, not because they burn fat or accelerate metabolism, but because they help create a feeling of fullness while carrying almost no energy. When cucumbers replace high-calorie snacks, total energy intake naturally decreases. Some compounds found in cucumbers have been studied for mild metabolic support, but the effects remain gentle and indirect. What matters most is that cucumbers do not place pressure on the digestive or endocrine systems. For the skin and connective tissues, cucumbers have long been used as a soothing element. This is not only a traditional belief. When the body is adequately hydrated, skin cells maintain better elasticity and stronger protective barriers. Small amounts of vitamin C and silica in cucumbers contribute to supporting tissue structure and help the skin recover gently from environmental stress. For cardiovascular health and blood pressure, the role of cucumbers lies in balance. Potassium is present in moderate amounts and helps regulate pressure within blood vessels, particularly when modern diets often contain high levels of sodium. Cucumbers are not a treatment for heart disease, but they are a compatible part of a diet aimed at long-term stability. The digestive system benefits in a similar way. Fiber in cucumbers is limited but sufficient to support intestinal movement and create a favorable environment for gut microbes. Combined with the high water content, cucumbers help digestion move more smoothly and reduce the heavy sensation that can follow meals. In addition, cucumbers provide vitamin K, a factor involved in bone health and blood clotting processes. This is not a primary source, but within the overall structure of a diet it contributes to the micronutrient foundation that the body requires. Certain plant compounds in cucumbers are also studied for mild antioxidant roles, helping protect cells from the long-term effects of biological stress. Overall, cucumbers do not create sudden transformation. Their benefits appear when they are used consistently within a lifestyle that is not extreme. They are suited to bodies that benefit from gentle care rather than powerful interventions. To understand why these quiet benefits still matter in the modern world, we need to place cucumbers within the context of today's lifestyle. Modern life creates a familiar paradox. Humans have more food choices than ever before, yet they frequently fall into a state of subtle dehydration, not because water is unavailable, but because fast-paced routines, rushed eating habits, and reliance on processed foods make it difficult for the body to maintain stable hydration. In this context, cucumbers retain their original role, but in a way that fits perfectly with the present. They require no preparation time, no cooking, no heavy feeling after eating. A food that can enter the daily meal without disrupting the rhythm of life, while still contributing to the body's physiological balance. Cucumbers appear in salads, light snacks, clean eating menus, and dietary patterns focused on simplicity. Not because they create novelty, but because they satisfy a very practical need: helping the body receive water and micronutrients gently while preserving comfort after meals. For adults, especially those who are less active, older individuals, or people who no longer experience a strong sense of thirst, cucumbers become an easily accepted form of indirect hydration. They do not force the body to process large amounts of water at once, but support steady balance throughout the day. What is remarkable is that this role has changed very little over thousands of years. Even as living conditions evolve, the reason cucumbers exist remains the same. They do not compete with high-energy foods. They occupy a different place, the place of balance. In a world that constantly encourages more, faster, and stronger, cucumbers represent the opposite approach: less, slower, and sufficient. That simplicity is precisely why they have never become outdated, even as the environment around them has completely changed. To close this journey, we return to the original question: what is the true meaning of cucumbers for human life? Cucumbers were never created to impress. They are not remarkable in flavor, not rich in energy, and they do not carry grand promises about health. Yet for that very reason they have survived for thousands of years without needing to change their role. Looking back at the entire journey from the hot lands of ancient India to the dining tables of modern humans, cucumbers consistently appear wherever people need balance rather than excess. They do not attempt to provide more than necessary. They simply perform one task extremely well, helping the body maintain hydration and operate gently even in imperfect conditions. The true value of cucumbers does not lie in nutritional numbers or advertised benefits. It lies in their ability to support the body quietly, without creating pressure or demanding attention. In a world where everything is measured by intensity and speed, cucumbers remind us that the elements that help humans live longer are often the simplest and most consistent ones. Perhaps that is why cucumbers never disappeared, even though they never became the center of a meal. They are there when the body needs gentleness, when balance matters more than display, and when quiet solutions become the most appropriate choice. If you can see value in the way a simple food accompanies humans throughout history, take a moment to reflect on what you place into your body each day. More is not always better. Sometimes what the body truly needs is simply enough and the right thing.